The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hi, good morning, everyone. And I'm hoping everyone can hear me well. Okay, so today we have a topic here that we're going to be talking about the some of the new products, which is Color 24/7 and AI camera. And of course, during the meantime, we're going to be including the AI DVR and MVR, which is because it's kind of related. Um, so thank you for bringing Brandon for the verification that you guys can hear me well. So first, my name is Marlon. I'm the IP camera product manager from LTS, and I'm actually very interested. I'm sorry, very excited to introduce this product to the market. It's actually, we've been testing it for over a year, and then I think it's excellent product. So if you have any question, sorry about that. So I have prepared a presentation, and I want to show it to you guys, and then hopefully you know. So sorry about them having any incoming message. Okay, so let's get started. Um, so we have a lot of attendees today, so therefore, you guys can type up your question. I'll get to it. Every one of them, slowly. Um, so the first slide that I want to show you guys is this picture here. Um, if you are in the industry for quite some time, you guys all know that when after you install a camera at nighttime, you're probably only going to be black and white, and or you're not going to be seeing anything if it doesn't have IR. Even you know like more than 10, 20, 15 years ago. So it's very, I will say that people already get used to it, and we not really hoping for much changes, or that we have suggested, and not because of the technology that we are not able to do so. So therefore, I think people like kind of lean toward to accepting it, and they could see black and white they better than not seeing anything. But for the first time, that we are able to see color at night. So the video that you're looking at right here is the prototype from last year. That is actually from our China office. That we is a very first video footage that we got from the prototype unit. So as you can see, you probably think that the camera has a lot of ambient lights. So maybe any camera that able to perform like this, with this kind of ambient lights. So, but I just want to show a glimpse of it, of how the camera will perform at nighttime. So, but I want to kind of let you guys see the video for a little bit. As you can see, you can make out the color very well, and you can see the people walking by. You can see the color of the shirt. You can actually see, make out pretty much every single color in this video. So, but before I actually gonna show you the US footage from our testing result, I want to talk about the specs a little bit. So this is the specs of the camera. So the resolution is 4 megapixel, and but instead of I'm going to point it out over here. So it's a pointer. So instead of you're going to see a 30 frame per second from our catalog, you're actually only seeing a 24 frame per second instead. The reason is we needed some time to create the catalog, so we should start preparing preparing about like 6 months prior. So therefore, the information that we got was not completely accurate. So that's why we have 30 frames per second, but the camera actually is only 24 frames per second. So I do want you guys to keep that in mind. But if you ask, are we planning to introduce a 30 frame per second camera in the future? Yes, absolutely. We are looking to have that. But besides that, all the functionality would be very similar. So this is the actual the footage, and that we put up a camera in the New Jersey office. So I'm gonna let you guys take a look at it. So if you look at the time, it's actually February 7th, 2009. 2019, sorry, and the time is approximately 6:55. We have a question here: is how far down the road before there is an 8 megapixel version? I would say not going to be very long. I would say maybe in a year or so, because it's a very revolutionized product. Because as I mentioned earlier, like past back in 20 years ago, when the camera CCTV first introduced, it's only seeing black and white where you don't see anything. But color is a big change. It's basically you turn the a color mode nighttime into like a colorful video. I think the demand is going to be a lot, and therefore when the demand is more, supply will start coming in, and therefore there will be more resolution down the road. And I even think like varifocal different lenses, even on PTZ version, will be also featuring this kind of color 24/7 technology on the camera itself. So I would say in a year or two, I will say we will have like 8 megapixel camera. And my prediction, not really my prediction, just what I thought is maybe 30% of the camera will actually we're actually featuring the what you call it, the color 24/7 camera. So I'm gonna just hang on one second. I'm gonna go back to the question here. We have some question pointing in, and hang on one second, okay? Okay, sorry about that. So let me go back to the video. Okay, so we saw the video a little just now. As you can see, actually, if there's anyone interested, and that's me walking out the building at 7 o'clock. But there's that time, if you look at this video here, we have only 2 ambience lights, which is one. I'm going to be using the laser pointer again. If you look at this is the first ambient light, and that's the second ambient light. And of course, this is the New Jersey Turnpike. So we have a lot of vehicles and all that movement going on over there. But if you look at the actual screen here, it might look very, very bright. But I can tell you, if anyone that have been to New Jersey office, and we are very, very dark over here. So especially this loading dock is extremely dark. I would say you probably can't really see a person, if they're really hiding somewhere in the corner wearing like, darker clothings. So I do want to mention it. And also another factor that I want to point out is, if you think about when crime happens, or when anything that happens, when you first call the law enforcement, or any you call 911 or whatever reason, the person going to be asking you is, what color is the shirt or what clothing the person is wearing who involved in this incident. And or they will, if it's involved vehicle, they're going to be asking, what color is the vehicle that that person is driving. But if you think about, if we have only black and white camera at nighttime, you're probably able to tell it's a darker color or it's a lighter color. You can't really make out the exact color of the person, the clothing, or the vehicle. So therefore, you can provide like 100% accurate description. But if you look at this right here, you can tell this vehicle is gray color, and you can see this vehicle is more like black or very dark blue, or similar to that. So if I fast forward to the next slides, which is a comparison. So this camera is actually mounting at the exact same location, just a different camera. So this camera that we are comparing with is the actual 762 PTZ camera. So this PTZ camera has a 20 times optical zoom. It has close to 500 feet IR range. So therefore, if you look at the center of the screen, you see this little white spot. And if you see, when walking past by, you can see the IR reflection is actually very, very strong, because the IR is extremely strong. But if you look at this area, it's actually very, very dark. Okay, but this is a big comparison versus the traditional IR and the color 24/7. And you see when the car is just driving by, okay, which is in a few seconds. Oopsie. Okay, right here. So if you can tell, you can't really. I'm sorry, just kind of skip through it. Okay, you can't really tell what color is a vehicle. You could say it's not color. It could be silver. It could be black. It could be blue. So you can't really make out the exact same color of the color of the vehicle. So the first very comparison that I put it to the test. The reason that we did all this testing in U.S. because believe it or not, in China, due to air pollution, the sky is not as clear in the US. And these cameras are equipped with the white LED. And throughout all my testing, the white LED lamp came on. Okay, but this function is still there. But in the our firmware, and we have decided to turn them off. So the light is actually off. In the LED light is actually off right throughout the testing, even though in the prototype too, that it never came on because it never needed it. So therefore, we turn off the LED light in the settings. But if you like to turn them on, you do have an option to go back into the settings and turn them on. So there's a multiple LED function that you can choose from, and which is the first one will be you can choose it in using auto, or using as time or scheduled. So you can choose when the LED to come on and when to come off. And the very good thing is you can also choose the brightness on the white LED if you decided to use it. Okay, and of course you can choose the sensitivity, how sensitive it's towards the ambient light. So that depending on your situation, the installation environment or situation. So we have some question here that want to come in. I want to answer them first. So we have, why does the bullet come in the 2005 from factory with separate bracket? Do you know if they will make a bracket for it with the bracket and cable coming through the bracket? Robert have a question like this. Yes, the camera actually comes in this form factor because I would say when I first installed it, and I like this bracket, believe it or not, because adjustment is a lot easier versus the bullet that we have been selling. For the ones that install, have used bullets a lot and do not like them, and I think the major reason is they have a little they have when you try to make some micro adjustment, it's very hard to make a slight adjustment to the big bolt the bullet camera because of how they designed. But this camera is actually very easy to adjust the tilt or the pan and tilt. But we are actually in the works of bringing in another bullet camera, which is mentioned the 30 frame per second, which is that will be maybe another 3 to 5 months, perhaps another 3 months or so, that we're going to have another bullet camera coming in, which is going to featuring the same housing that we've been offering to our customer for the past 6 years. Okay, so stay tuned. So David have a question. Say, do you have an example video of very low light condition? Yes, I do, and maybe another half hour I will get to that. So stay tuned. And how does Daniel have a question? How does it perform when the environment has a very low ambient light? Exactly that we're going to show you. This presentation going to be including very normal city lights, and it's going to come in very dark environment, and also indoor example too. So it's going to be all included. Anthony has a question: why don't they come in 2.8 lens? For now, the camera is only comes in 4mm, and we are in the works of bringing in 2.8mm. Especially the turret cameras. So that would be something we looking to bring in. And the bullet we still evaluating. Are we bringing in 2.8? Because this bullet camera usually lean toward to 4mm due to our sales data. So that's something that we're still evaluating. But we're gonna bring in the 4mm first for the bullet housing that we mentioned, that or the one that we have been selling. Okay, which is gonna include the junction box and all that stuff. Okay, so let's get back to the presentation. So during the test, because a lot of times when you have to actually put the camera to test in order to figure out some of the selling point or key features. So if you look at this video here that we recorded was on February 8th, and it's, believe it or not, it's 12 a.m. midnight. So when we first, you've probably seen this video before on our YouTube channel. We have a lot of customer calling in and saying, "I say, did you guys manipulate the time? Just change the timestamp, pretend it to be 12 a.m." Now, I can swear to God that we did not make any changes to the time. And we have actually sent out demo links to ourselves to forward to their customer. So if you do have the sales rep in LTS, you can actually ask them for the demo link. You can actually see the camera at nighttime in real time. And I have added like a normal traditional camera. We have added which is the AI camera we're going to be talking about, and also the license plate camera, as well as this Color 24/7 camera. So therefore you can actually see them in action, yourself. Okay, but I'm not going to expose the link today, but therefore if you have a sales rep, or if you don't, please go ahead and register an account with LTS, and we could provide you the link and the username password for you to and also including the playback from permissions, that therefore you can always go back to like several days later earlier to see the video footage. But the reason why it's showing this video that has not much motion except the vehicles on the turnpike, because that day was actually raining. Okay, you can see a little like mist on the camera. Maybe you can see a little not very clear. The reason is because of raining. But if you look at the next video from the PTZ camera, exact same time, February 8th and 12 a.m. you can see all this IR reflection, from the camera, because the IR is on. So therefore, you're gonna have a lot of motion like this going on. So we figured this could be another selling point, because if you think about Color 24/7 camera, it doesn't have any IR at all. Therefore, if it's a raining situation, that camera is not going to be reflecting the IR, even though you don't have a dome camera here. So let's go back and take a look at the Color 24/7 camera. There's no reflection at all, because there's no IR. And again, we go to the traditional camera here. Okay, you can see all this IR reflecting off from the rain. So it could be another selling point for you to pitch the end user. Say, look, I mean, you're not going to be seeing all this rain from during those rainy days, or even if you think about not just rainy days, how about the time was very foggy? It happens a lot. Therefore, I have experienced it, and the camera itself is actually like you can't even see 5 feet from the camera when it's very foggy during some of the season. So that could be another selling point. Or if you think about, you have another camera that installed near the AC unit. In New Jersey, most of the AC units actually installed outdoor, and because the unit is expensive, so therefore some people put a camera to monitor it. But you think about in the winter, they're producing a lot of heat and smokes and all that stuff. The IR is going to be reflecting all of that. If the wind is blowing towards the camera direction, you're probably not able to see much with the smoke coming, or the fog coming out that from the AC unit. So with the Color 24/7, you're not going to have that issue. So we do have a couple of questions coming in. So David, have you tested to see if exposed is too good for LPR? Unfortunately, the light changes could affect the license plate reading the license plate. So therefore, that we have kind of like tested, but because of the headlight, kind of wash out the image. So therefore, you can't really make out the license plate. So Edwin said, "Have installed 2 cameras in a very low light environment. Customer was very excited to change the new to 24/7. It was perfect with the low light in the Hills yard." Yeah, thank you, Edwin. It's very good, and I believe it or not, when we first introduced this to our to market, and we did a lot of marketing, and they sent a lot of videos. So some of the customers start buying them for testing purposes. So they put up one at their house, and the next day they check it, and then we got a lot of emails saying that they couldn't believe how great this camera is, especially at nighttime. They couldn't believe that how much detail you're gonna get. Okay. And one more question is, what is the demo link you mentioned? It's actually we have 4 cameras connected to this MVR, and we could be sharing with you guys, but unfortunately I will not be sharing the link using. Well, you're gonna see the link a little later because I have a demonstration. But the username password, you have to contact your sales rep. They will able to give that to you, Robert. Okay, or anyone that interested in it. Okay, so let's go back to the presentation. Okay, so. And also, after seeing all this eye reflection, I have another selling point that I want to, emphasize on. If you think about traditional IR camera, and especially in the area that have a lot of insects, New Jersey during springtime, summer, we have a lot of insects, and especially if you are located more south, like in Houston area, Miami, area, that pretty much 4 season is very warm. You're not going to be extremely cold. In that case, there's more insects to deal with. But if you think about you install a traditional II camera, therefore, when you put up the IR camera, because the IR is actually attracting the insects. So a lot of times you're going to have a lot of false alarm or the motion detection from the camera also because of the IR. And another part is when the camera is attracting the insects, spiders going to be start like building spider webs on the camera too. So therefore, if you have to actually come down to the job site to make any adjustment or services, you're going to be running into like very nasty situation when you try to replace a camera or upgrade a camera, or for God's sake the camera is bad. You could probably run into a situation like that. So a lot of times when I go into replace a camera, I actually see the camera has spider eggs in it. So all kinds of nasty stuff. So I'm pretty sure you guys will experience that. But with the Color 24/7, put it outdoor, you're not gonna have any kind of eye reflection. Therefore, there's no insects. So spider is not low chance spider will try to build a spider web over that camera over there. Okay, so it could be another selling point to offer the end users, so they may highlight very likely to like this product too. Okay, so after the rainy condition, then I want to show you a snowy condition. So this is on March 3rd, and it was 6:23, and it was very dark. We kind of like pointed the camera to a different direction this time, because my customer asking how does a camera perform in a like more like a look like a city street kind of environment. How would that perform? So therefore, we kind of swing the camera to the other side that I want to demonstrate it. So if you take a look at the demonstration, the video right now, we actually pointing at this building here. They have a huge parking lot. They have approximately 8 to 9 street lights. Okay, and you can tell it does not look like nighttime at all. Okay. Okay, now if we go to another camera that is actually, this is a very popular camera from LTS. This is the 3342W-M. This is the turret 4 megapixel camera. This camera is actually considered as a very low lux camera too. This camera itself is a 0.018 lux, so it's very, very low lux. But you can see all this snow coming down and all this eye reflection, and you can tell, look, the camera is not that far apart from each other. I would say approximately maybe 30 feet away, 25 feet, maybe something like that. But you can see this area is very, very dark already. Okay, but let's go back to the previous video. Okay, and the snow, you don't see a lot of them. Okay, but if you from the IR reflection, you can see a lot. But you can see it lit up the parking lot very, very well, comparing to the traditional IR that we're going to look at it again. Okay, so if you look at it, it's very dark. You can't really see much, over here, okay, and all this IR reflection from the snowing. Okay, so this camera is this is another comparison we put to a test for our customer to see it. So if when you get the username password, you can actually go back and look at the date. During that 2 weeks that we had actually very bad weather condition. That like the first day we'll be getting a lot of rain. The second day we're gonna get a lot of snow, and then rain and then snow. So it wasn't a very good week for us, but we did able to provide some video footage on showing some extreme condition in New Jersey. Okay, so the next slides I want to show you is because when we introduced this camera to the market, we have a lot of question pouring in is how much ambient lights do we need in order for the camera to perform the way it is now. So if you look at this picture here, this is taken on February 17th at approximately 9 o'clock. So if you look at this, this is the Color 27 camera again. The only light that we have here is just the little lights here from the house across the, from across the pond, or the little lake here, and we have no other light whatsoever. Okay, except the light from the sky. Okay, so that day actually the sky was not very clear, and it actually was raining that day because I was actually holding an umbrella on my right hand and holding on to the camera on my left hand, stood there for like a few minutes to record this video. So because one of my friend's backyard was in the kind of like in the woods and looking at a pond like this, because why I have this kind of this inspiration to test it in this kind of environment, because we have customer calling in and say, well, we has been struggling to put cameras by the water, by the dock, and they have like shipyards, things like that. So when they put a traditional IR camera, the camera does not perform very well, and it always either cause IR reflection, or you can't really see much at nighttime using a regular IR camera. So we kind of have this from a customer. So okay, well, let's put it to a test. So fortunately, I have a friend that have this kind of backyard that I was able to create a video footage like this. So if you look at this video here, this is you can perfectly make out the color of the grass is green, and you can actually see the pond. Okay, so the next one I'm going to be showing you is, this is actually last night. Okay, I actually put another camera, okay, and on the looking at the exact same pond and showing how much light do we have here. So this camera is a 4 megapixel camera. It has IR on already. Okay, the IR is actually on, but if you look at it, it's not that great. But because the IR is on, you are still, this is actually a video that I made last night. So you can actually still see the grass, and there's a little tree here, you can see the house, things like that. Okay, it was last night. So, and I actually go ahead and turn off the IR from the camera. So this is the video with the IR off. So if you look at it, you can't even see the tree anymore, okay, if you compare it. So let's go back to the previous one. Okay, and then if you look at it, you can see the tree, right? The little tiny little tree with low leaves on it. And now we go to the next video with the IR off. Okay, you can't really see the tree anymore because the IR is off right now. So therefore, I want to show how dark this environment is. Okay, so if you look at this, the reason why I produce this kind of video is to show how much ambient light we need in order to perform like this. So I'm going to go back to the actual, if you look at the comparison, this is with the LED off. The white LED is not even on, and you can see the tree is clear. Now, you can probably argue it's a lot closer. Yes, it is a lot closer because the lens is a little different, and maybe the distance where I'm standing was is a little different. So this is a 4mm lens. The one previously was a 2.8mm lens. Maybe the way I stand it was a little different, but it's not really the view that we were talking here. is the actual color that you want to see, and also the details. You can actually see the pond, okay. But unfortunately, that night that did not have any ducks or any goose by the pond. Therefore, maybe we could see some animal activities here too. But unfortunately, that night that we didn't have any. But the major point is you can see the environment, and by comparing it to a traditional camera here, you can actually tell how dark the environment is. And also because of Northern nature, grass and also trees and water does not work very well with regular IR. Well, this is actually matrix IR already, so therefore it does not perform that well. So if you ask me how much ambient do we need for this camera here, I would say even though the camera is the area that is extremely dark, all you need is be able to get a piece of the sky. The camera will perform extremely well, okay. But if you're gonna put it in Alaska, in the woods, which is the woods, the tree is gonna be like what 30, 40 to 50 feet high. You can't really see the sky. In that case, you're probably not going to have a very good picture. But besides that, I will believe that the camera could put it anywhere outside. Okay. So now, after showing you guys, with this ambience light, I do have a couple of pictures that was taken by my phone, at the time of on the same time where I used the Color 24/7. So if you use this, I use the iPhone 7 to take a picture. The reason I use to take a picture is because the picture will absorb more light because it's not taking a video. So you can see the only light that I have here is just the house here. Okay, so I would say using human eye, when you go outside, it's very close to this is what I was actually seeing at night. That's the light condition that I have. But if I go back to the Color 24/7, it's a lot brighter. Okay, and I can tell you when I first put this camera up, back in 2018 February, I was like, when I put this camera outside, I was like, there's no way the camera could be this good, because when I go outside, the camera actually able to capture the image brighter than my human eye. So when I go outside, look at the outdoor, it was pretty dark, but the camera actually see it brighter. So this is how great the camera perform at nighttime. Okay, let's go back to the iPhone picture here. I do have another picture here. This is a iPhone 7 video that the snapshot that I took from the video. You can tell if you're using a video, the video is a lot darker. Okay, well, you probably can say my phone's outdated. Unfortunately, yes, I'm still using iPhone 7 at this moment. But I would say, if you're using the very good phone, you still probably get a little bit better, but it's not going to be anywhere close to Color 24/7 camera. Okay, so this is all the outdoor condition. So after putting it outdoor, we have customer asking, how about indoor? How would that work? So I can guarantee you, if you're gonna put a camera indoor in a pitch black, which is no light whatsoever, the Color 24/7 camera, without the white LED being on, it's not going to give you much. First, this camera is not designed in a very dark environment, okay, because it needs lights to perform. So if you're going to put it in the warehouse or put it in the office or storage room, which is going to have no light whatsoever, I would not recommend you put the camera in this kind of situation or in this kind of installation environment. So traditional IR would be your best bet. But if you think about like a bar or the upscale restaurant, or when you take your girlfriend or take your wife or your husband, your boyfriend on a date, those kind of restaurants usually don't have a lot of lights. So those lights will be very, very limited. So a lot of times in those kind of situation, the lights, if you put a regular IR camera, the IR sensor is going to be going on and going off, going on and going off. In that case, it's going to, you're going to have black and white image flickering between color and black and white. And also it's going to be, causing the IR to premature failure. So it might not be good area, or you're gonna spend a lot of time adjusting the sensitivity, or you have to go into the camera and turn it to like a date mode and preventing the camera from going into the black and white and color mode. So it's gonna work. But with the color for 24/7, if you look at this picture here, but you guys take a look at the picture. I have a question coming in. So I have a question from David asks, can you turn on the white LED? Yes, yes, the LED is you can turn it on. So during the presentation, I will towards the end, I will be showing you the interface of the white LED. So you could turn them on by using schedule, or you could turn them on by sensors. So if it detect it does not enough ambient light, it will turn on. You can also adjust the brightness and the sensitivity. Okay, so if you look at this picture here, I only have one lights. The light that I took a picture of it. This is the light that I'm using, the one you can get it from Home Depot or Lowe's. Okay, and this is how it performed with just one lights in this room. So this room is, I believe, is approximately 25 feet by maybe 50 to 60 feet. So it's not a small room, okay? But we only have one single LED, the light here. So if I go to the next slides, okay, I decided to put one more. So I have two LED light here. But if you look at the 1 and 2, it's actually not a big difference, okay? But of course, I did not, the camera, I did not point it to the right side, but now I have two lights. I can perfectly make out the flowers are purple, okay? The table is white, the camera where the stand is a little yellow. The door you can see is yellow, and the ceiling tile is white. And the wall, we kind of painted not white, it's kind of like a linen white, like have a little yellow tint on it. You can make out all this color, like with no issue at all. So when I doing this comparison, I put one of the camera has a very, very low lux camera. So this camera actually is the 3382 8 megapixel camera. This camera has 0.01 lux, which is very, very low lux. Okay, if you look at this in the black and white, normal mode, if the IR turns on, okay, this is how dark the room is. So now I turn off the IR. If you look at it, you still can probably see the screen if the monitor is bright enough, but you can see the lights here, but it's still very dark. So now I even turn the camera into a color mode. You can see this becoming a yellow tint over here. So this is how dark the room is. But if we go back to the color 24/7, it's like day and night. So if you have not purchased one for testing purposes, or have not even installed any one of them, I urge you to buy one, and you can see the difference in your own eye. You will believe, because when we first introduced all these pictures and videos, and we have so many customers that don't really believe this this is how the camera perform. So, but I do want you guys to, excuse me, I do want you guys to purchase one and test it yourself. Okay. So for the color 24/7, it will be all this video footage, and the next product we're going to be talking about is the AI. But I do want to show you guys the actual camera interface, so where the IR at the white LED could be turning on and off. So excuse me. So I have this, of course, you're not going to see the password. So don't ask me, okay? So if you go to the configuration, and just to confirm it, this is the color 24/7. It's a 9C42W-M. So if you're going to go to external device, so this is the light LED setting page, okay? So you're able to turn the you could actually select auto brightness. You can adjust the brightness yourself. You could turn the LED on automatically, or you can set it to like a timer. So what time to turn on, things like that. And you can set the filtering time and the sensitivity on the white LED. So there's all kinds of settings you can use it for. But therefore, I through all my tests, it never came on. So the question come in, Alan, will this webcast being recorded for future viewing? Yes, that's correct. If you have, I know you guys are very busy, so if or someone couldn't even make it, this video gonna be we're gonna be, it's recording right now, so we're gonna be put it on YouTube, but it will probably be another month or month and a half, 6 weeks from now, because we are still preparing for the ISC West. So therefore, we need some time to kind of like edit it, cut out the things that we don't need, and then put it on YouTube. So therefore, it's not going to be like a 3 hours video. So yes, it will be on YouTube. So just in case if you are busy that you have to go, you still can view this video online. In the future, maybe 6 weeks from now. Okay. So this is the setting page. Does anyone have any question for the Color 24/7 before I move on to the next one, which is the AI camera? Okay, so we do. So does this camera integrate with all the existing NVR? Okay, that's a very good question. I'm sorry that I missed this part. So actually, this camera will be fully compatible with all the NVR that support 4 megapixel resolution. Okay, so therefore, if you have purchased like 87 without the K or without the Q and they support 4 megapixel, you put this camera up, it will be no problem at all. So any NVR from LTS that support 4 megapixel will be supported, because it's just a regular IP camera. It just have upgraded sensors and the aperture to provide the color details at nighttime. Okay, any NVR that support 4 megapixel. So Brandon had asked, do they ship with current firmware? Yes, well, the firmware that is shipped with the unit is LED is being off, so you don't have to go in and turn it off. And we know that how much people don't like the white LED, so therefore the white LED is off by default when you receive the shipment. Okay, of course we're gonna keep providing firmware updates when we find like critical bugs and or security issue, but so far this firmware is already ready to go, and their LED is off. Okay, so I think all the question has been answered. Okay, so let's go back to the presentation. Okay, we have a more Brady. Will it work with the LTS app by LTS itself? Yes. So this camera actually is a standalone unit. So all IP camera is a standalone unit. You don't really need an NVR to operate. So therefore, you could just connect to a network and provide like a DC 12-volt power. If you want to test it, you don't really need an NVR. You just connect it, and you could add it, to your app using like IP address or the PT Cloud, things like that. So you don't really need an NVR to test it. If you wanna, if that's what you're referring to. Okay. You're welcome. So next thing we're gonna be talking about is the AI IP camera. So this one may be a little complicated. So therefore, if you have any question, please feel free to ask so I could correct it. As soon as possible. So we have John, and another question: have you tested the Color 24/7 in a complete dark outdoor environment? Yes. Well, because when we tested it in outdoor, it's not going to be completely dark. So if you look at the previous slides that I was mentioning here, this one is actually very dark already. So this is why I put this camera in this extreme test. So I will say this will be a lot will be very dark versus a lot of installation scenario. Okay, so I would say you can put it anywhere outdoor, except you're gonna put it in a forest, where it's like 50 feet trees that you don't even see the sky. In that case, I would not recommend it in that kind of installation scenario. IR probably won't do it, won't even do it anyways. So, but you're not going to get that kind of picture if the tree is blocking the sky, because those ambient lights from the sky actually helps the camera a lot. Okay, so let's start it with the AI camera. So if you look at this picture here, this is from the 3342W-M camera. So the date is February 15, and don't worry about the time, because we are looking at the February 15 from 8 to 2 o'clock. So I kind of blow it up for you guys to see it. So it is 8 to 2, morning to 2 p.m. You can see all this motion going on for the traditional camera. But if you look at the next slides, which is from the AI camera, which is the 9042W-28MI, you can see exact same date, February 15, from 8 to 2. You don't have a lot of motion going on here, as you can see here. And again, let me just go back to the previous one. Okay, and then again, this one. You can see motion is not a lot comparing to, I would say, cut down maybe what, 10% of it, close to that, something like that. So if you can see, this is the difference between AI camera and traditional IP camera. The reason is, if you think about traditional motion, how do they determine there's a motion detection when the camera doesn't even have any motion sensor, hardware sensor? So basically, if it's an IP system, the IP camera will be determined if there's a pixel changes. When a pixel changes, then the camera will consider this as the motion detection. So when there's a wind blowing by, change of lights, of course, there's someone moving around, trees moving, things like that, the camera will determine this is a motion, so I need to start recording. So I will send a signal to the NVR, okay, record. So, or from the DVR, if it's a TVI or an analog system, the TVI camera, the TVI system, the DVR going to determine the motion the pixel changes. That's what we call it. When the pixel changes, then they will start recording. So a lot of times there will be a lot of false alarm. It's not accurate at all. So with the AI camera, because of the AI camera has additional hardware in it that is able to analyze the video footage from the camera. So therefore, it's able to filter out all this human or vehicle detection. So therefore, if it's a falling leaves, the tree is moving, if it's like a change of light, a snowing, raining, things like that, it's not going to be recorded, because the AI has analyzed it. Those are not human and vehicle movement. Therefore, you will have less recording. Okay, so the very beginning, we're going to be focusing on the AI camera first, because in the upcoming few minutes, I'll be talking about NVR and also the DVR, the differences, because they're actually very different, even though they name it same thing with AI, DVR, and NVR, but actually they are very different. So we have a question come in. Brandon, do you need an AI deep learning NVR for this will work with, or is this all done by the IP camera itself? That's a very good question. The AI camera itself is an independent unit, so it does not require an AI NVR to operate with, okay, but it can work with it. So the compatibility is, I will also repeat that toward the end, is going to be the LTN86 series or the 89 series will be fully compatible with the AI IP camera, okay, but the 87Q and 87Q is not going to be compatible, even though you said is IP camera dependent. But unfortunately, 87Q, the processor is not capable of handling all this, AI cameras part. 87K, we are still evaluating would it be compatible with it. So maybe in the upcoming months, we're able to provide the more detail on 87K, because it's still under evaluation. Okay. So as I mentioned, the AI camera is the one to determine if that is additional, if it's a human or it's a vehicle, because of the additional hardware that it has in the camera, built into the camera itself. Okay, so if you pair with the 86 and 89, you'll be fine. And we have customer asking how many channels the 86 and 89 can support it, as many as you want. So if you have an 8 channel 8608-P8 MVR, you can put 8 AI cameras and have all AI function. Okay, or if you have an 89 series, you can let's say per se you have a 16 channel unit, you could put 4 and then put like the rest regular camera, because you don't need the AI. So the customization or the flexibility is all depends on the installation scenario. Okay, so the next slides that we're going to be talking about is the specs, because again, due to the time that we need to start preparing for the catalog, some of the information might not be accurate. Okay, so I want to point out a couple of things. So I'm going to bring up my laser pointer here. So if you look at this dome camera here, okay, so we offer this camera in a 2.8 lens, and the matrix are up to 98 feet. But if you look at our catalog, it actually sets 150 feet. So therefore, that's one correction that I need you guys to pay attention to. But is 150 and 98 feet a big difference? Not really. The reason why we have to put down to 98 feet, because we have to reduce the IR reflection on the dome camera. Therefore, the dome cover is not going to reflect IR, as bad as traditional, IR camera, because of the dome design could easily reflect IR. So we have to lower the IR output. So we have a question coming in. It's this from Polo. Is this camera going to have a PIR feature built in? No, it doesn't have a PIR sensor. We do have a TVI camera that we offer the PIR sensor, but because of the camera, the IP side is going to be using a chipset to analyze the videos. So therefore, it doesn't have a PIR sensor required, because a PIR sensor is only going to pick up a heat signature. If it's a vehicle, it's not going to pick up heat signature. If it's a bigger animal, it will also pick up the heat signature. So the AI is a little learning differently. So it won't need to detect human and also vehicle, not animal. So it works a little differently, but they are very similar. But on the AI IP camera side, is going to be strictly a hardware and also software combined for to analyze the video. Okay, so if you look at the turret and also the bullet, instead of 150, it became 164 IR. Okay, so they are a little different. And I want you guys to look at the lux too. The lux is actually 0.012 lux. It's actually very, very low lux too. Okay, so we're gonna be talking about the next slice, which is the configuration part. So if you look at this configuration part, it is strictly from the AI IP camera side. Okay, so if you look at this size, we have intrusion detection. Okay, let me bring up my laser pointer. We have intrusion detection. We have line crossing detection, regional entrance, and regional exit. So we have total of 4 VCA function, and each VCA will have up to 4 regions. Okay, so we have 1 here, 2 here, 3 here, and 4. So therefore, each VCA function will have 4 regions. Therefore, you have total of 16 regions for one AI IP camera. Okay, on the bottom here, that's a detection target. So if you enable human or vehicle, or you can